Welcome back. Kate Bryan is with the American Principles Project, and she joins us now from just outside the United States Supreme Court, where today justices are considering the bans on same-sex marriage that still exist in many states. Kate, thank you very much for your time. Are you worried that this case may not go as you and others who believe in traditional marriage would hope?
I think it's interesting to see how this case plays out. You know, right now in front of the Supreme Court, there are opposing views, people on both sides of the aisle, and I think that's the American people right now. The hope is that the Supreme Court will actually push it back to the states and give the people a vote. This is about the Constitution and whether or not the Constitution makes a stance on this. And really the Supreme Court, it comes down to, they need to make decisions on things that are unchanging. And we've seen political or public opinion change on this issue and on many issues throughout all of history. So it's not really an unchanging issue that they should be making a decision about. They should be sending it back to the states and giving the people a vote.
Can you speak to the notion that some advance that when two people come together and commit to one another and commit to care for and love one another, that it's a societal good and that it doesn't really impact straight people if gay people want to form this sort of union and partnership? So why stand in the way, given that, as in the District of Columbia, care is taken to make sure that no religious institution has to marry people that it doesn't think should be married, as long as it remains civil and something that those churches that want to do it are free to do it. What's wrong with saying two women want to get married, God bless?
Well, throughout all of history, marriage has always been between a man and a woman. That's been, really the foundation of society, to raise children, to raise strong children. And really, if you have a strong family, you have a strong society. Even Hillary Clinton said that recently, that if you have a strong family, you have a strong society. But really, the best place for children to be raised is in a family where there's a mother and a father. They're learning different things from each parent individually. And so that's what this is about. And just protecting the institution of marriage. That's what we're talking about, is the institution of marriage. Not civil partnerships, any of that kind of stuff. So
do you know of any straight people who don't feel as good about their marriage as they did before gays could start getting married?
Well, I think there really is a crisis in marriage, because depending on how this case goes, it could really affect the future of marriage in our country. And we've even seen, difficulties in marriage throughout the past, 20 or 30 years. But, we need to protect that. We need to talk about that. I think this issue is being talked about, and that's important. But we need to work to promote the good in marriage. Marriage is a good. We need to see it as that and fight for that.
Kate Bryan is with the American Principles Project. She's outside the Supreme Court, part of our coverage of this important issue today. Kate Bryan, thank you very much for your time. We'll be talking with you again. Let's finish our conversation. We have about 3 minutes left. Let's get back to our panel and our look as we juggle two big stories at once on this busy Tuesday. We want to return now to our focus of the situation in Baltimore. And I want to give each of you, Terry, Jeffrey, Mayor Gray, and Rob Hardy, an opportunity to say anything that we haven't touched on yet as it relates to I guess part of me is wondering, could this have been contained before it got so out of control? But maybe the more important thing now going forward is, with not a lot of time left, how does the city heal? Who steps up and does what to help the troubled neighborhoods that just exploded on the news last night, and not on the news but in reality?
Well, I think the leaders, the political leaders, the civic leaders have got to step up. We saw a press conference earlier being conducted by the NAACP, one of our leading organizations for decades in this nation around race issues. One of the things that struck me, Bruce, was I'd love to have seen more young people involved in that discussion that they were having at that point. So the city has got a long period of healing ahead of it, and they'll get through taking control of the city, because that becomes a law enforcement matter. But the most important issue of all is what happens in terms of healing the relationships in the city, and how do you continue to move forward with building and rebuilding Baltimore at this point?
Terry, Jeffrey.
I believe the truth has power. When people speak the truth, even those who don't like it or recognize it. And I believe there are people in Baltimore who are speaking the truth. Freddie Gray's family, his mom, his lawyer. they're saying this is wrong, and they are right. NAACP leaders are saying this is wrong, and that's right. So I think that people need to stand up and speak the truth, and they got to teach kids the truth from the very moment they're born.
Reverend Hardy.
I just want to add that this is a Baltimore issue, but this is also a national issue. That the way to go forward is for us as a society to really look at the systemic racism that we see in our criminal justice system and in some of our police departments, and for us as a country to recognize that this is an issue for all of us. This isn't just an issue that affects black people. This is an issue that all of us, the police work for us, the criminal justice system works for us. This is something we should all speak out on and take a lead on. And as a white person, I think it's important for me to say that black lives matter in this very moment.
And I worry, with only a couple seconds left, Mayor Gray, that people will look at police broadly in a different way when we know that most police officers do a very difficult job very well.
They absolutely do. You know, I use our own police force in the District of Columbia, our outstanding police chief, Kathy Lanier. We were determined to have the police force that looks the most like its population in the nation. And that's where it begins, Bruce. You got to work at that every day. And police have got to develop relationships with the community as best they can, recognizing that they are law enforcement officials first. But I think here in the city it's been proven to work.
Mayor Gray, Terry Jeffrey, Rob Hardy, it's a great conversation. Thank you, all three of you, for your time. We really appreciate your coming in. Chief Lanier, by the way, will be here tomorrow. A break, back with more News Talk right after this.